Hello, and welcome to Awaken the Light Within. My name is Leanne Schweitzer, and I am your hostess with the mostest. And I feel so much inspiration to share with you this episode today titled Rejection as Redirection, Turning Pain into Purpose. And what I really want to have a conversation with you about today is an experience that I recently had with rejection. So I planned this event alongside one of my incredible business partners in the community that I'm a part of. And we both have, my daughter's 5, her son is almost 4. So we both are raising kiddos alongside doing this incredible business together. And so we planned to do this in-person event. And it was our first time actually investing in renting out a space. There's this beautiful community center here in Bend, Oregon, where we both live. And I'm a yoga teacher and she's a breathwork instructor. And so we thought, how cool would that be if we kind of collaborated and brought both of our gifts to share with the world of this beautiful place, and then also share about this incredible water that we both are so passionate about and share with, because it changed our lives. And that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I'm not here to talk to you about this incredible water. I'm here to share with you about an experience with rejection and how you are maybe have experienced rejection in your life, and this will be relatable. And I will give you some tools to help you move through this experience to get to the other side so that you are able to turn your pain into your purpose. And so the event that I planned was going to be at this beautiful community center, and we put so much effort into it, and we had a beautiful plan set up and a beautiful presentation that we put together. I put hours and hours and hours into this presentation, and I poured love and so much excitement. It was one of my favorite presentations that I've done so far. And so far I've just been doing presentations in my living room and in my friends' living rooms, right? But that's where you start. I have this dream, this vision of becoming a public speaker. And so in order to public speak, you got to start somewhere, right? So I've been doing it in my living room, my friends' living rooms, just getting practice doing it. And we made the leap to invest in a space to do an event at, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done, and also the most liberating and freeing and exciting. And so, we both started inviting to this event, and there's only 10 spots in this room, and so we each had 5 spots, and we started inviting people that we'd met in yoga classes or breathwork classes, or people that we previously had conversations with about the water, the business model, and we invited people. And the thing that I didn't think through is that we sold tickets on Eventbrite, and I never sold tickets for an event before, and so we sold them on Eventbrite, and Eventbrite, I think, broadcasted it locally to people here in Bend. And so what happened is that people that didn't know myself or my business partner showed up, and they came with all of these expectations, right? They weren't expecting to have a presentation on water and molecular hydrogen, and they came there with these expectations of yoga and breath work, and they didn't have expectations of having a presentation. So when we switched from yoga into the presentation, and this was all planned, this was literally in the title of it, right? So our event flyer, it said, "Join us for a transformative in-person event that weaves together the practices of yoga, the power of hydrogen-rich water, and the healing energy of breath work. Elevate your health, unlock your potential, and align with the energy of the age of Aquarius. Discover how zero conscious business model. It can be a vehicle for personal and planetary transformation, and learn how you can be a part of a movement, creating a new earth, one of abundance, flow, and collective healing, right? So that was the event description, right? I literally, like I said it all in the event description. And so, these people showed up and they were disappointed when we switched over into presentation mode and started talking about water. And the one woman like looked to her left and looked to her right and asked these women, is this like what you expected? And they both were like, no. And all three of them stood up and walked out of the room. Like they walked out of the room. And in that moment, it was like I got punched in the gut. It was like sucker punch to the gut. And I know that feeling, right, of just being rejected. And I took a big breath in and a big breath out, because there were still people there. There were still people there in the room that didn't walk out. And so I continued and I finished the entire presentation. And then Whitney led an incredible breathwork session where I got to scream at the top of my lungs. And it was so freeing and awakening and liberating. And it felt so good, that scream. And we finished. We did the thing. We made it through. Like, we didn't die, right? It might have felt like that for a moment. And we made it through to the other side. And let me tell you, the other side was still a little bit bumpy, right? So after that, the community center actually forwarded an email that they said, and I'm not going to read the whole entire email out to you. I just want to share this like one little snippet that they said. I feel like I was tricked and my time was wasted driving across town for the equivalent of a timeshare type of presentation. I wonder if the center knew that this class was really a capitalistic ploy to try to sell something expensive and not necessary to women. I can get that in my everyday life. I don't need it at a place I come to for spiritual renewal. Right, that's the message that they sent, and the center forwarded this message to me, so I got to read it and like get sucker punched in the gut once again, like, ugh. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about me. It does not matter what anyone else thinks about me. I cannot control what anybody else thinks. The only thing that I can control is myself. And I know that was not my intention. That was not my purpose for putting together this event. And the center that we did it at knew that wasn't our intention either. And they said when they messaged me that they're still, if we want to come back and do another event there, they're happy to host us again. And we're going to. We're gonna go back there. We're gonna do it again. And next month we're gonna rent out the bigger room. We're gonna rent out the forest room. And then the next month, we're gonna eventually rent out the whole entire facility, because that is my vision. I have this massive, massive vision to expand and grow. And I am not gonna let this one little hurdle stop me from going after my dreams, going after my vision, right? And so I really want to acknowledge that rejection is hard. Rejection is painful, right? Rejection is painful. And it can also be the most transformational gift that we receive, right? Because what rejection really means, rejection is not about you. Rejection is not about you. It is about misalignment, right? Rejection is actually redirection, right? You get to gain clarity to make changes to offer an even better opportunity the next time around, right? It's an opportunity to refine and realign, right? I really want to normalize these emotions of embarrassment. Like it's a feeling, right? To feel embarrassed, right? To feel disappointment, right? To have these expectations, this vision, and it doesn't quite meet your expectations and this feeling of disappointment and sadness and maybe a little bit of rage or anger, right? Maybe it's self-doubt, right? These are all normal emotions that you get to feel. You don't need to hold on to that shit. You do not need to hold on to that shit, right? Because that holds on in your body, right? So unless you feel it to heal it, feel it to heal it, let it go. It's part of the human experience, right? It is part of the human experience. And I really want to I really want to outline that, rejection is actually a mirror, right? Rejection is actually a mirror, right? Because oftentimes it reveals limiting beliefs or areas that you're still seeking external validation, right? So how certain are you in your belief? Are you rock solid, so strong, or is this gonna shake you a little bit, right? And you get to become rock solid in your belief and know with certainty what you are doing is in alignment, right? So rejection is not a loss. Rejection is not a loss, right? It simply gets to be feedback, right? You get an opportunity to ask yourself powerful questions, right? What is this experience teaching me? What is this experience teaching me? Or how is this making space for what's truly aligned, right? How is this creating space for what's truly aligned? Because let's be real, let's be honest, like those three human beings were not in alignment with my mission. They were not on the same level. They were not drinking the Kool-Aid. They weren't drinking any water. In fact, that's how I started the presentation, right? I asked, what does water mean to you? And the one woman that got up and left, she said that I don't actually drink water. I'm lucky if I drink 1 to 2 cups by the end of the day, and I feel anxiety and stress and tired. I feel really tired. And she actually said, like, oh, I wonder if that's connected. And I'm like, she just like let it go, right? So this woman was just not in alignment with myself, with herself. Like she didn't even know what she believed. And I don't need to take on that misalignment, right? I get to allow her to walk out to create space for more aligned human beings that are on a similar path as me. Because you know what? When I did the practice run, the practice presentation, I invited some friends over to my business partner's house to do a run through of this event, this presentation. And one of those people that were there is actually a medical doctor. And when she left that same exact presentation, the same event, we did yoga, we did the water presentation, we did the breath work. After that event, something shifted in her and she saw what I saw, right? So she is in alignment and it's just creating more space for people like her that are health conscious, that are focusing on true healing, right? Because healing starts from the inside out, right? So really trusting your intuition and also trusting that rejection is guiding you towards greater alignment with your purpose, right? Greater alignment with your purpose. And so I really want to introduce this concept of alchemizing your pain, of transmuting your pain and turning it into fuel for growth and creativity, right? And so tying this back to the event that I hosted, right? And how this rejection has actually opened up space for more aligned people and a stronger vision for me, right? Because I know what I am doing. I have certainty in what I am doing, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to tear me down. And I get to take this and share it with the world and not hold shame over this experience and not hold blame over this experience and not hold resentment over this experience. I just get to trust that this experience happened for me to step even more into my power, into my purpose, right? My purpose. And I listened to the most incredible podcast with Mel Robbins the other day, and she was interviewing Dr. Martha Beck, Oprah's life coach. She's like considered like the number one life coach, and she shared about purpose. And where was it? Yeah, she was talking about how her son was diagnosed with what was it? I believe it was like Down syndrome, something. It was diagnosed with something during her pregnancy, and it was after like I think she said it was after like being 6 months pregnant or so. She was like already connected and like found out that there was something quote unquote like wrong, and that moment in her life, it shifted her so much. Like she just completely surrendered and let this child be who it is. And she felt as though she'd been held. And that's the thing, is that in these difficult and challenging experiences, when it feels like the world is collapsing in on you, whatever it is that you're experiencing, right? We all are we're all in this human experience, right? But we're experiencing these different things. They're like similar and they're a little bit different, right? And that's what makes us uniquely you. That's what makes you uniquely you. And so your voice gets to be that somebody's medicine. It's not going to be everybody's medicine, but your voice gets to be somebody's medicine. Your mess gets to help somebody else who's in a similar mess, and your mess becomes your message to help them move through the difficult things in your life, right? So the suffering that you are experiencing, you get to shift that suffering, right? You can't change the past. You cannot change the past. But what you can do is shift the meaning behind the past, right? You can assign it a different meaning. It doesn't have to keep you stuck, right? It doesn't have to keep you directionless. It doesn't have to keep you feeling frustrated, right? And so what she said in that podcast episode that really stuck with me was, and I'm sure you probably heard it before, but in some other context, right? This idea of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, right? You go into the cocoon, right? You go into the cocoon and you have no idea what a butterfly even is, right? You're a caterpillar, right? You have no idea what a butterfly even looks like. It's an idea that you've never imagined before. The caterpillar cannot imagine becoming a butterfly, but that is its destiny, right? Your destiny is not determined by your current circumstances, right? Lean in. It's hard to do. It's hard to do when you're in it, when you're suffering, and you're not peaceful. Right? You experience that tension in your chest, right? Almost like there's like a plate here, right? And like an armor, right? An armor. And you get afraid. fearful. Breathe into that. Let the fear be there. Let it fill up the space. What happens when you relax into it, right? Fear is another word for anxiety coming from life circumstances, right? Now, these thoughts, right? We all have these different thoughts, these different storms. They're similar, but they're different, right? And they come from events from your past, right? And the suffering is actually your ally, and it will tell you everything if you allow it to speak, right? If you allow it to speak, right? And so, for example, right, you maybe made a financial decision at one point in your life. Maybe it was 2 years ago, maybe it was 5 years ago, and you spent the last 2 to 5 years getting yourself out of financial debt and getting yourself to safety again, right? And that voice in your head says you're about to do something stupid, right? You're about to do something stupid, right? All the alarms are tied to it, the emotion, the suffering, right? And the suffering tells you the opposite of what you need to know, right? It's backwards. This is what she shared in the podcast, right? So she was speaking about how it's backwards, that if you let yourself sit in the suffering, if you let yourself listen to the voices and get down to hearing what they say, right? The voice is saying you're about to do something stupid, right? And then you get all the feelings in your body from the last time that you did something stupid, and that emotion is stuck in your body, and you change the thought. Now you're about to do something brilliant. Now you are about to do something brilliant, right? What does it feel like to do something brilliant, right? It feels really exciting in your body. So that's what you get to do. You get to shift the perspective and tell yourself a different story, right? Tell yourself a different story. Right? Pain is going to crack you open. It is going to crack you wide open. The crack is how the light gets in, right? The crack is creating space for growth, space for self-awareness, and space for transformation, right? How many successful individuals faced rejection before finding their path, right? Think about Oprah, for example, right? Think about J.K. Rowling, the guy that wrote Harry Potter. Think about Disney, right? I just got this book from the library last week, and it's like a biography for children about Walt Disney. And in the book, it like says Walt Disney went bankrupt right before he created Mickey Mouse, right? So many stories come from the painful moments, come from the rejection, when you were able to transform, right? Some journaling prompts for you, right? What is rejection teaching me about myself? What is rejection teaching me about myself, and how can I use this experience to grow? Right? Do it right now. Pull out your journal. How can you use this experience to grow? How can you forgive yourself, move on, and turn this into your power, turn this into your purpose, right? So some tools that you can use to really strengthen resilience, right? I love breath work. If you have never done a breath work session, highly encourage. I love group settings. Here in Bend, Oregon, we have this one guy, John Paul, that comes here from LA, and he does these breathwork sessions at the Bend Convention Center. So it's like 200 plus people where you just get to breathe together, right? And it's breath work. It's work. Like you actually like have to like focus on breathing, and you get into your body and you feel emotions. You might start to cry. You might start to laugh. You might start to get angry. I felt every single one of those. I've had so many different experiences with breath work, and it really just allows you to feel. And then at the end, you get to scream. You get to put your hand up and you get to scream so loud. And I tell you, there is so much healing and screaming and releasing, right? There's so much just like stuck in the body, and you just release it and you let it go and you move on. You take the lesson and you move on, right? Meditation is also an incredibly powerful tool. Yoga Nidra is another tool that I am a huge fan of. I've got another podcast called Just Breathe, where I just upload my meditations and yoga nidras. If you're looking for some and actionable tips for you for realigning after rejection, right? Focusing on what you can control, right? Because a lot of times we want to focus on the things that we can't control. And that's the thing, is you can't control them. So focus on what you can control and just take the next step forward, right? Our next step forward is hosting another event there, right? We've already been in back and forth email with the center, and we're going to host another event, hopefully on February 26th is the date that we're planning for. And then we want to expand it to even, I'm setting my intention right now, we want to expand into an even bigger space and really start growing these events. And I really truly believe that I'm becoming a public speaker, and this is all just part of my growth and building that resilience in myself. And so just know that rejection is not the end, right? It's actually the beginning of something better. And the moment that you let go of what isn't for you, you make space for the abundance waiting to flow in. Right? So if you love this podcast, 5-star review, write a review, and share this with somebody who could use this message today. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering you on. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.